Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's our great privilege this morning to have with us Pravrajika Prabuddhaprana. She's a senior nun from Sri Math. She joined in 1976 and has spent almost the entire time at the headquarters at Dakshineshwar, just outside of Kolkata. And she's the author of several books and has been here many times. So we're very happy that she's here. She'll be speaking this morning. We're in the basement because there'll be a video presentation also. She'll be speaking on Ramayana, Reflections for the Future.
Thank you for your welcome. I'm very happy to be here. I'll start by an invocation. Ramaya Ramachandraya Ramabhadraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. I bow to Sri Ramachandra, who is the protector of all, benevolent as the moon, Lord of Sita and the Raghu dynasty. I had visited Ayodhya recently, and that is why I chose this topic. Before I went to Ayodhya, I thought the Ramayana was mostly a myth with maybe 10% history. Perhaps the extraordinary peace and joy of the atmosphere of Ayodhya effected a change in my mind, and I reread the epic poem again. Ayodhya, the birthplace of Sri Ram, actually means free from Yudhya, Ayodhya, free from war or conflict. The whole ancient culture of India is founded on the Ramayana, culture founded on Dharma and the most exalted ideal of human character. It's a Dharma Shastra, a text on the duties of a person in the context of the family and society. Also, it's an Arthashastra, a text on statesmanship and the duties of government and the duties of a citizen. It is also itihas, a history of the most extraordinary civilization of India. This work of Valmiki, a one-time robber turned sage, has powerfully molded the national character of India. For thousands of years, Valmiki represented a model of civilization which is timeless. The Ramayana has contributed to the spiritual and cultural unity of many races and people in all of South Asia and beyond. I would like to show a video regarding that. Oh, let's go backwards. Now, what you're seeing is a ballet in Indonesia. In Yogyakarta, they have a ballet on the Ramayana every night of the year. It usually goes on for a few hours, though this is just a short clip. And sometimes there are 200 dancers involved. Here, Hanuman is burning the city of Lanka. His tail is on fire. So he's burning the city with his tail. That's all. Please put on the light.
The Rama Setu or Adam's Bridge is
This performance, ballet performance of the Ramayana, is shown in 3 places, at least in a very big scale, and maybe in a few others also, on the island of Java, which is a Muslim country. And they have taken up this Ramayana with so much devotion and performed it so beautifully. I witnessed one of them. And I saw particularly the episode of Sita enchanted by the golden deer, a Rakshasa in disguise to trap her. But that deer looked so much like a deer, a dancer, and I could have sworn this was a golden deer in front of me. It was so charming and beautifully done. The monkeys actors were like real actors. I mean, real monkeys, and they danced in such a way that you could swear they were monkeys. So it was a very charming performance and very faithfully done. And this in a Muslim country. In India, however, you can only see the Ramayana usually at Diwali time, and once a year. And I don't know how many people will be seeing that. Maybe in the villages there will be small-scale performances, and in cities like Delhi there will be big performances, but very few. Not as it is in Indonesia and in other countries also, as we shall see. So I wonder, why do Hindu parents not explain the Ramayana to their children anymore, when it was at one time in every family, the children knew the Ramayana, sometimes by heart. They would see these yatra performances in the villages, and all over India, people would see it. But nowadays, there's very little of it, though maybe still in the villages, but not much in the cities. Valmiki's poem was created as a result of witnessing a tragedy. Many of you know the story, but I will explain why I'm telling it now. When on the branches of the tree above where he was sitting, 2 birds were twittering and flittering about in joy, in an act of love. And suddenly, one fell down to the ground dead, shot by a hunter's arrow. The mate of that bird shrieked in grief and pain to see this. And Valmiki was so touched by that scene that he was inspired to compose a poem about it. And at once, the gods appeared before him, Vishnu and Narada, and they requested him and encouraged him to write this poem. Now, they had some design in it. The Rakshasas were despoiling the yagnas of the householders, and the gods were nourished by the oblations of these yagnas. So they had to find some way to stop it, and the only one they thought would be able to do this was Ram. Because Ramchandra, that time, he was a young and very valorous warrior. And he was perhaps the most capable man of his time. And so they were hoping that Ramchandra, son of Dasaratha, could kill the Rakshasas. Now, no one could kill the Rakshasas because the king of Rakshasas, Ravana, was so powerful. He had a boon by the gods themselves that he couldn't be killed by any weapon, by any means, not fire, not water. There was hardly any way that anyone could kill him. No animal could kill him. This was the boon that was granted to him. So he felt invincible and gloated in his power. But it was not given in this boon that he could not be killed by a human being, though no human being would have been capable because he was so powerful. So no one dared to try. But these gods knew that Ramchandra would be able to do it. And so they encouraged Valmiki. When Valmiki saw these birds killed by the hunter, he was so struck that he cried out, "Isn't there anyone anymore who has compassion, who is loving and kind? Isn't there anyone anymore who has the character, the virtues of a great human being?" And he was so disturbed, and Narada told him, "Well, there is someone that fits that description," and he described all the virtues of Ramchandra, and said that yes, the king Dasharatha's eldest son fits that description. So Valmiki was inspired to write his story. Now, the Ramayana, we would think, because the gods Vishnu and Narada, these divine beings, they interacted with human beings. So just think of the life of Sri Ramakrishna and Sri Sarada Devi. All their parents interacted with gods all the time. Sri Ramakrishna's father saw Vishnu, and Vishnu told him that he would want to be born as his son. Then he saw Lakshmi, and he saw Sita. Not Sita, but Shitala. Shitala Devi helped him gather flowers for his puja by holding down the branches of the trees while he plucked the flowers. Then Sri Ramakrishna's mother saw gods and goddesses also. And when her eldest son went to do a puja in a nearby village, and he was not coming back late at night. She was terribly worried about him, and she kept on peering out into the darkness. Suddenly, a young woman came before her from somewhere, and she was wearing a silk sari and beautiful jewelry. And she assured Sri Ramakrishna's mother, "Oh, your son, Ram Kumar, he's coming. Don't worry about him. He has just finished his puja. I have come from that house, so I know that he will be coming very shortly." And then she just disappeared. And Chandramani Devi was worried about her because she thought this young woman dressed like that, and she won't be safe moving about by herself. So she interacted with gods and goddesses, and also Holy Mother's mother, Shyamasundari Devi. She saw so many gods and goddesses; they were like members of her household. Excuse me. So she even saw Brahma with a red face, so she thought he must be sunburnt, and she offered him some cooling rice. So we can understand that it's no myth that the gods appeared before Valmiki. Now, in Tulsidas, in his even more popular version of the Ramayana, the Ramcharitmanas, composed in the local Avadi language, presents Ram as an avatar of Vishnu, though Valmiki's original version makes Ram to be just a perfect man, a perfect human being with godlike qualities. The epic is divided into 7 books, or kandas, and follows Ram's journey to rescue his wife Sita as she's kidnapped by Ravan, the Rakshas king. Now, I suspect the gods of having instigated Sita's abduction for their own self-preservation as well as for the good of the world, because otherwise Ram would not have a motive for traversing the length of India and to encounter the Rakshasas and destroy the Rakshasas to rescue Sita. And their interest was to kill the Rakshasas. So Rama is the eldest son of King Dasharatha. When Dasharatha was old, he wanted to make Ram the Yuvaraja. He held a council to get the approval of his ministers. He did everything correctly, according to the custom. Ram was his eldest son by his first wife, Kausalya. Dasharath had 2 other wives. In order of their seniority, Sumitra, mother of Lakshman and Shatrughna, and Kaikeyi, the mother of Bharata. The day before Rama's coronation, Dasharatha's 3rd wife, Kaikeyi, reminded him of a boon that he gave her when he was very sick many years before. In his gratitude to her, he told her that he would grant her 2 boons. But at the time, she thought that she didn't really need anything. She would reserve those boons for a future date. Well, now her maidservant, an attendant, encouraged her to ask for those boons and put her own son, Bharata, on the throne and banish, for the second boon, banish Ram to 14 years in the forest. Hearing this, Dashrath just fainted. It was just unimaginable to him to send his son, the apple of his eye, to the forest where there were wild animals and a terribly hard life when he was raised in the luxury of the palace. But Ram assured him that he must keep his vow to give those boons to Kaikeyi and be truthful. Ram said to him, "This kingdom, happiness, Sita, all these pleasures, even my own life, I don't wish for it. I want to see you truthful." So he was showing the duty of a son to stand by his father. Now, in Sri Ram's incarnation, we can say, as Sri Ramakrishna, he pronounced, "Truth is the austerity of this age. Everything can be sacrificed for truth, but truth can't be sacrificed for anything." Ram is the model of the most refined virtues: renunciation, self-abnegation, serenity, justice, and morality. He has intellectual prowess, forgiveness, and restraint. His statesmanship is bereft of prejudices, and he has an appreciation of the noble qualities even of his enemies. Rama said about Ravan that Ravan is a great warrior, a great king, and an erudite scholar. Our political leaders today our political leaders adept at the character assassination of their opponents could learn something from Rama's magnanimity. He tells Bharata, his younger brother, "As is the eye to the body, so is the king to the state." He demonstrates how a ruler should respect public opinion above personal preferences. A democratic state derives its strength from the goodness of its people. Swami Vivekananda said, "The basis of all systems, social or political, rests upon the goodness of men. No nation is great or good because Parliament enacts this or that act, but because of the goodness of men." The basis of all political or social systems rests on the goodness of men. Swami Vivekananda wanted the Puranas to be reinterpreted for every generation. Now, there are some modern interpretations that are becoming popular. So Ram, with his two companions, Lakshman and Sita, set out into the forest. They received the blessings of rishis in their hermitages and sometimes took refuge in their hermitages. When Ram set out to defeat Ravana, he was not alone. So he had the support of the gods, an army of Vanaras, the forest dwellers, led by Sugriva and Hanuman. They were always by his side. Their support helped him to traverse India and go to Lanka across the sea. It was Rama's loving character and personal sacrifice for truth that drew their help. In today's world, if people of different backgrounds would help one another, irrespective of their differences, their unity and mutual help would solve the problems of violence against minority groups and helpless individuals that we read about in the newspapers every day. According to Valmiki, Hanuman was not a beast, but probably a tribal, maybe with a monkey mascot, but we can't say, except that he was a most cultured person. He was intelligent, alert, calm and humble, honest, sincere, strong and courteous. He was always the enthusiastic servant. His command over the language fascinated Ram when he first introduced himself to him. Hanuman is the model of a bhakta. He's the greatest devotee. Now I had some other slide, some other pictures. Can we show that now? That I wanted to show the influence of the Ramayana.
What if I tell you that the Ramayana is a real historical record, which is much more mysterious than what people believe? The evidences found all over the world suggest that this ancient text is not only related to India, but to many other places all around the globe. There is a theory that the Patala Loka described in the Ramayana is none other than the Central American region. It is highly probable because Central America is diametrically opposite to India, and Patala Loka is said to be beneath the ground in India. In the text, it is mentioned that Lord Hanuman once visited Patala Loka, and the shocking thing is, we are finding many evidences which suggest that it is indeed true. For instance, the Central American tribes worship a monkey god, and let me show you the statue found there.
That's it. We put on the lights, please. Tulsidasa's Ramcharitmanasa gained even more popularity than Valmiki's original work because of its emphasis on bhakti and because it was in the vernacular Awadhi language. Also, it was the need of the time as protection against a caste-ridden society, the ritualistic abuses of priests, and empty scholarship of Brahmin intellectuals. Tulsidas wanted to reconcile rival factors of Hinduism and showing reverence for both Shiva and Ram. This helped to strengthen the social cohesion. Today, efforts could be made to reconcile religious conflicts with the new outreach and inclusiveness as is currently being done, such as India's hosting the recent Buddhist Confederation, which was international, held in Delhi, to which were invited representatives from all schools of Buddhism around the world. It could be also viewed by the public, which had some impact on the public. Now, there is also a symbolic interpretation of the Ramayana, which I found also in the Chinmoy mission, though there are other interpretations which are symbolic, but I mentioned this one because I liked it. That is that Dasharatha, Rama's father, is one who has controlled the 10 senses. Das meaning 10, and Rath meaning control. So he had controlled the 10 senses, the Jnanindriyas and Karmendriyas, 5 each, 5, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, and the organs of speech, speech and the feet and hands, and the organs of procreation and evacuation. So these are the 10 senses. And Ravan, on the other hand, doesn't have literally 10 heads. The 10 heads represent the 10 senses again. So otherwise, Ravan, if he sneezed, he would have to sneeze through 10 noses. So it would be, and if it would make quite a racket. So it couldn't be taken in this way. And there's other symbolism. Ram, according to this symbolic interpretation, represents the self or Atman. And he can't act unless he's wedded to the mind, which is Sita. Now, Sita's attention was distracted from Ram by the golden deer. And the golden deer is the symbol of the fleeting objects of the senses. So Sita is left in Lakshman's charge after when Ram is pursuing that golden deer, Sita requests that Ram go after that deer and catch it for her. And then when Ram doesn't come back, she sends Lakshman after Ram. So then she's left alone. But Lakshman draws a protective boundary line, a Lakshman Rekha, warning her to stay within it. But she disregards Lakshman, and instead of being under the protection of Dasaratha, she's ensnared by Dasamukha, the 10-headed Ravan. So it goes further. Her Vyakulata, her yearning for Ram, when imprisoned in the Yashokabani by Ravan, when she's imprisoned in that garden, her yearning for Ram brings him to her rescue. Then Vali, the general of the restless army, represents the restless thoughts of the human mind and has to be killed by Rama. So Sugriva is put in charge. And Sugriva means someone who is well controlled, Sugriva. Then the ocean of samsara can be crossed to bring back Sita. This is one line of symbolism. Now to apply the lessons of Ramayana for the future. Counteracting the increase of artificial intelligence and its resulting limitation of feelings, limitation of feelings for others in society today, the Ramayana teaches respect for nature and all forms of life, good lessons for the future of our devastated planet. And also lessons for disconnected humanity. Every day there are more cases of violence against Dalits, tribals, Christians, abuses of minority groups, children, women, farmers, migrants, you name it, lynching Muslims. Can't you boycott any projects that take advantage of ignorant women? There are so many things going on. And we find out about them, but nobody does anything. Are we waiting for some government to pass something in Parliament? So I don't know, maybe the dependence on technology decreases our humanity. Parents used to teach the Ramayana to their children so the children would imbibe the value of modesty, self-control, respect for elders, and regard for others. Without that training, it's no wonder that they defy their parents and do whatever they please. I don't know why people don't wake up and discipline their children when they're young, and then they become teenagers, out of sight, out of mind. And I think it's this lack of moral education that's the root of the decadence of our society. Now, the Sanatan Dharma embodied in the Ramayana is a civilization and not a dogma. The ideal relationships of a human being in the family and society, and with trees and plants, the relationship of Devaloka with Martyaloka, the realm of the gods with the earth and living human beings, and with Patalok, the nether worlds, of members of families with one another. All are delineated in the Ramayana. I think there's another video we can show that would maybe be suitable here.
In this video, I am going to share with you just one fact, which is so astounding that we have to look at the history of human civilization in a completely new way. The ancient Indian text, the Ramayana, is one of the oldest writings available today. In it, there is a particular chapter where Sugriv, who was the king of the ancient kingdom Kiskinda, talks about a distant land. He says, there is a golden-colored sign of a palm tree with 3 branches, which is fixed on a mountain. Lord of Heaven, Indra has created this as an identification mark of the East. Shockingly, he is talking about the trident on the coast of Peru in South America, which is famously known as the Paracas Trident. The locals say that this geoglyph was created by their god Viracocha. Now mark this, Indra is considered to be the Lord of Heaven in India, while Viracocha is the Lord of Heaven for the Inca tribes. Both have the same powerful thunderbolt weapon, and both are worshipped for rain. Do you get it?
The titles have come backwards in this. I don't know if they will be seen backwards online. All the titles of that look backwards. Anyway, I wind it up. Well, this is why the Ramayana has lasted through the centuries for thousands of years and contributed to be the guide to the ideal of the future. It is because of the lack of the sense of duty and spirit of service that competition and corruption prevail in the family as well as society. And in political life, that prevents us from enjoying Ram Rajya today and in the future. That I concluded. But I'm worried about those titles, that they may have come wrong in this.
Is there any questions?
Yeah, are there any
Yeah,
questions?
we have some time if anyone
Yes.
like to ask something.
I have a question. Why is it that Hindu women are not giving this moral education to their children anymore? They're not. I don't know how many of you read the Ramayana at home. You do, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Chinmaya Mission is doing a fantastic job of that in the Sunday their Bal Vihars classes. My own twin grandchildren have memorized Hanuman Chalisa. And they
Yours,
they know
but
all
what
the
about all the
stories.
other people?
I don't know. I think it is the duty of parents to do that.
How many of you read the Ramayana to your children when they're small? Don't. Few. And you have to explain the meaning also. They may not get it. How do you know if they understand it? Hmm? Comics, yeah. There are comics, but I don't think they really get it from the comics. No, they only think these are jokes. They're mythological something. They don't realize the application to their own lives.
Some comics are really very effective. Very effective.
That they don't realize that children have duties. That children have to be obedient. That they have to relate to other members of the family. They go off on their own and do their own thing. They're mostly out with their friends, and they don't absorb these values.
Yeah, what they absorb is, oh, he's a superhero. My grandson said, oh, he's a superhero. I said, yeah.
Yeah, Hanuman is like Superman. He's not. It doesn't teach them anything. He just flies through the air.
But then the children, when they're little older, they do ask questions about these things. Why Ram had to listen, and that was not fair. Why did Ram have to go? Why Sita was?
We can't hear her because there's no mic.
Yeah, you have to talk louder.
The-
This mic's still on.
No, but it would be no.
We can turn that mic on.
No one can hear.
I'm just saying the children, very little one, when they're little, they do ask questions about why Ram was sent to forest. This was not fair.
Uh-huh.
Why Sita was treated the way she was. That was absolutely horrendous. So those questions
That they can understand, but they don't understand the value of telling the truth, of upholding the culture of their parents.
It's true, we try to explain.
Previously, people used to say, "Oh, this about some student. Oh, he's so and so's son or daughter," and that alone would be some value. That family was known to be cultured and teaching the children good manners and responsibilities. But now children don't take any responsibilities. They don't even want to go to school. I was just in a home. The father had to pull the boy out of his room to make him go to school. Again and again, he had to pound on his door. I mean, how reluctant the boy was. And that means that they don't get anything in school either. No, otherwise they would want to go to school. They would get something. They would learn something, or they don't get anything. They feel that it's a waste of time. It's because they're just given information, unrelated information. It seems to me, I may be wrong. Maybe you know better.
In fairness to, like elementary schools right now, I can speak for the one that my grandson goes to. They do teach them 2 words: responsibility and respect. So I always try to bring that into the comic, Rama comic. See, he was so respectful of his dad.
But do they apply it? Do they teach the children to apply
The
it?
interaction between the kids and between the adults, the teachers, and because my grandson is 6.5, and he talks about it. Like I took him to an ice cream shop, and I said there was a long line, and he wanted to go ahead. I said, well, you have to respect other people that are there. They're before you, and he understood that, although he was very anxious. But I mean, I think the schools, at least for the elementary school he goes to, it tries. We have to follow up at home.
Yes, and families now often don't do things together so much.
I think most of the teachers try hard to give values and all that, but the timing is much more complicated.
Yes.
We have a lot of teachers here, former teachers.
Oh, yes.
Teachers every day, we do it.
So they should say something. Yes.
So in the same.
Can you come up and
Yeah,
talk to the
because
microphone?
the microphone is far away. Nobody can hear.
In the same era, among the Panchasati, Mandadari, Tara, Ahulla, they considered as a sati, as pure woman.
Yes.
Why Sita was not considered as a sati? That's my question. Because she did everything, for her husband in her whole life. She didn't think anything about any person.
Yes.
Except her husband, but she was not considered as a sati among
That's
Panchasati.
because she lived away from her husband in the company of Ravan. So nobody could prove that she was innocent.
But even Tara, after Bali died, Tara married to Sugriv. Even Mandodari, I don't know, it's a kind of, it's not sure, but some people say that after Ravan, Mandodari married to Vibhishan. And even Tara is not considered as a sati, but still Kunti has 5 husbands. Kunti is a sati,
Yes.
but Sita was not a sati. I'm very surprised.
But in those days, having 5 husbands
Yeah, we
was
don't know about
not considered
exactly.
immoral.
Kunti didn't have 5 husbands.
Yeah, Draupadi.
Not 5 husbands, but all of her sons.
Yes.
He came from the God.
No, but that is not, you can't say she had 5 husbands. But
No,
Sita,
I think
Sita
Sita
is above that.
that.
Sita is not
Comparable
comparable with that 5.
husband, but she got 5 children from the Devata. They are adopted by.
Okay.
But Kunti is a sati.
Yeah, Tohadi, no one can hear.
I'm sorry.
This is-
I'm
yeah.
sorry because
This is not a
she's
private session.
Excuse me. Yeah, maybe, I'm not saying that, it's not right that Kunti has 5 husbands, but she got her 5 children, 5 sons from the devota. But still she is considered sati, Ahalla considered as a sati, Mandadari considered as a sati, Tara considered as a sati, Draupadi considered as a sati, but Sita was not.
But you know
Okay,
what?
we got
But
the
that's,
question.
yeah, that's also one, there are other versions also.
Yes, there are definitely.
There are other
When I was-
versions.
When
And
I was growing up in this country, as a teenager,
yes.
my Gurudev, one of the first things he
We
taught
can't,
me
we
was-
can't hear you. You have to go to the microphone.
The first thing my Gurudev taught me was the ideal of Indian womanhood is Sita.
Swamiji also said. Huh? Ideal and Indian woman is Sita. But see, there are other versions. I think the original, was it the original version was not that Sita was swallowed up in the earth. It was and had to go for a second time through the trial by fire. There are different versions of it.
But her patience, her
Mm.
patience. Like, Mom, completely.
So now the time is up. We can stop here. It was a different sort of.
Yes, so a lot of food for thought, and Mataji will be here now for some time. You can also sit with her and continue this conversation while we have some snacks. I just wanted to announce that next weekend, we have a retreat weekend from Yogatmanandaji from the Vedanta Society of Providence. Will be here Saturday. He'll give a retreat on Shiva Sutra. There'll be a session in the morning and a session in the afternoon. If you go to our website, you'll see the schedule. There's no registration. Everyone is welcome to come in person. And if you can't come, it'll be on YouTube live stream, so you can click on that and on our website. Any other announcements? No, I don't think he'll be around. But then later in the month, Swami Shantatmanandaji, who was a longtime head of our New Delhi Center and now in charge of the new branch that Gurugram,
Yes.
Gurugram Center. So he'll also be here. And that'll be the end of the month. So we have a busy month with all the visiting sadhus. So our thanks to Mataji, and we hope to hear from her again in the future.
Thank you.